Hey, how we doing?
I forgot I didn't have my headset on.
Welcome in. This is the magic episode. Can you hear me?
The what?
The magic episode, season 3, episode 3.
Oh. Magically.
Just a number. Season 3, episode 3.
Magically bombastic side eye.
Something like that. I'm dancing around the notion right now.
Notion of what?
The notion. Here. I don't think that you've actually bothered to take a look, have you?
It's alright. Oh. Okay, hold on. Oh no, I saw that she put it up there. I just didn't go look at it.
Oh. You've got to go look at it.
Alright. I mean, if somebody's not even on staff is doing more work. Oh, look, I don't want to sign up. No, I don't want to sign up for this. Look at the thing.
Well, signing up gives you the opportunity of editing, adding to, and what have you.
Okay, so now what do I do? Because it took me to my own thing.
Yes, basically, so you have a sign-on. Once you have a sign-on, you can go back to the original link, which should open up in a new tab, but you're already signed on.
Okay, well, they put the little YouTube on there and everything. Okay.
Indeed. It's got the website, which needs work, and it's got the first read PDF.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's up?
You know, pretty good day for a Monday.
Just don't. But it's wet.
Yes, it is. And there lies the problem.
Exactly.
Oh crap, you guys can hear that, sorry. Hang on 1 second, let's do this.
That's why I muted too, because I'm kind of drinking my tea and eating.
So, how are we all doing?
You know, Just the usual. It's a pretty good day overall.
Penny, you're being quiet. Are you actually here, or are you just wandering around?
I'm here. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if my microphone was working or not.
It is. So,
A needle pulling thread.
I guess we will get started. Everyone is here. It's about that time. This would be, thanks to the handy header on the chat, Season 3, Episode 3 of All the Sinners, entitled The Girl That Never Was. So, when last we left our little story here, the coterie had split up, and Finn had gone to Chinatown to meet with his contact, Wise Frog. The other two had gone to Harlem to go to a bar so fancy that it was just called Bar. There they met a Nosferatu named Bartleby. He imparted some knowledge to them for a price, though I don't think they were the ones paying that price. And then we all met back. Morgan mentioned as an aside that they were leaving, that was the guy that, from the video, at least in her opinion. And we returned to the Haven, or to Penny's Haven, where she had found a letter, some sort of wax-sealed invitation to contact someone, and then there was a bunch of activity of the supernatural variety with a bloodstain growing and some things rattling and some banging going on. And finally, the bloodstain, as it was going down the wall, oozing, it spelled out the word help, and that is exactly where we left off last time. So, as we are currently split kind of into two groups, with Lyric being by herself, talking to the ghost, or trying to talk to the ghost as she sees the word help form on the wall, and then the other two talking about the letter that was left. We will start with the other two. Are you doing anything in particular?
In light of where we were, taking a moment to jot down this, that, and the other, and make some computations really quickly as we're waiting on Lyric. Unless there's something that Penny would like to discuss.
Penny is just as chipper as she ever is after sorting through the mail and sorting out the junk. Well, I mean, the last time we got an invitation somewhere, it was an interesting night.
You know that's a Chinese fucking curse, right? The whole idea of interesting and jumping to someone else's tomb is exactly the worst place to be in, especially being as we're walking into everything cold and have been for a very long time. Everybody's playing that card pretty close to the fucking chest, so my vote, out of hand, toss it in the garbage, and let's go to something you want to do.
Date or time on the note, was there?
There was not.
Well, it's nothing that needs to be decided right away.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. You know, the promise of immortality only works as the carrot for so long. Eventually becomes the stick. Because you realize that the promise of immortality is, well, it's a lie. Everyone's immortal until their days end. And that's where we are. We're immortal as of yet. So time actually is a huge factor. You know why, you ever heard the phrase, burn the boats?
I'm sorry.
You ever hear the phrase, burn the boats?
She will make a gesture with her hand that says to elaborate.
It's the notion of putting your feet on a path and not turning back until you achieve your goal. When a famous conqueror reached an island with his forces in tow, the battle ahead of them, everyone contemplating on what the outcome was, to assure that there was no retreat, that his feet were firmly placed on the path towards victory, he had his men burn the boats. There is no escape save success. There's no way through it except for success. It's called making a definitive choice and following that road. Your way of doing business is the opposite of that.
She will chuckle. The last time I made any definitive plans, I wound up dead.
And yet here you are. Because someone else made a plan. Someone else set their feet on the path and they achieved their goal, which is the end of you. And the lesson you take from that is to leave yourself as the victim of fate. It's been
And he will
so
snort.
kind to you yet.
Yes, I'm not sure that I was anyone's plan.
Take it as you like it. I just find that unfulfilling. As someone who has not had the opportunity of landing on my feet as the world plans, plots, and acts, doesn't really suit well. That's the reason why when I step back and I take my hands off, I am done with the matter, because at this point there's no give, there's no way forward, so there's no reason of interacting. As long as there's a way forward, as long as I can burn the boats, everything's good. No matter what happens, because you gave it your best shot. You had a definitive course. You had an aim. And even if you miss and you gave it your best shot, you still win. It's when you let everyone else decide and you decide nothing that you kind of lose. You got nothing. You got no money on the wood. You got no investment. You got no agency over yourself. That's the underlying thing for me. Some semblance of agency. And I like knowing that my allies, my friends, my associates understand that, can vibe with that. Because when the shit hits the fan, as it often does, knowing that my associates or those nearest to me don't have a plan, don't have a buy-in, lets me know that once again, as per usual, I am by myself.
My dear, plans are what happen until life happens.
Yeah, that still doesn't answer the question. I'm putting to you that it matters to me clearly, foundationally, that I need to have an understanding as to where those in my cipher stand. And your idea to respond to that is to attempt to sidestep that with a pithy retort. Still not quite confirming one way or the other, except for that I was in fact correct. That when the shit does hit the fan, and it will. It always does. That you're not this side of the Rubicon. And as long as we understand each other, I'm perfectly okay leaving it there. But the ball is 100% in your court in that regards. Because you fill me with the fear of knowing that there's someone near me that I cannot count on.
You're familiar with how I made the name for myself, yes?
How would I be familiar with that? You haven't told me anything.
Way back, during the war. Much like I am now, I'm a driver. I happened to be the one that helped people get away. Shit hits the fan, I get them out.
Which people?
People that need it. Usually my friends. Sometimes the people who pay me.
I see. This is your place, and it'd be rude if I didn't ask. Mind if I step over there and check on Rick? She's been back there for quite some time.
Go ahead.
Which brings us to Rick. Rick, you are standing, staring at a wall that has just spelled out a message for you. What are you doing? How you feeling?
She's a little shocked, but her first inclination is with what? Like, okay, I can try to help you, but I need to know what you need help with so that I can help you. I don't know how much to help. Does that make sense? And then she realizes she's sounding like she's talking to herself, but the help on the wall proves to her that she is not talking to her.
Slowly, what looks like a hand made of shadow reaches out from the word help towards you. I mean, you're not in any danger of getting hit or anything, but it's there.
There's two things going on in her head. One is, okay, reach for the hand. The other one is, what if I reach for the hand and it pulls me into the wall? She saw poltergeist when she was growing up. So there's that moment of hesitation, and she looks back over her shoulder to see if there's anybody else before she goes reaching for the hand. Bracing her feet, just in case.
As of yet, you just hear them still talking in the other room.
Okay, so she braces her feet, just in case, and very slowly reaches for the shadow.
As you make contact, if you ever banged your head real good, there's that sudden flash of light before you realize that you've hurt yourself. Everything kind of goes dark right afterwards. That is what occurs now. You are no longer in Penny's apartment. Exactly. Kind of looks like Penny's apartment. All the color seems to have been sucked from the world. and everything seems to be decayed and decrepit. But the floor plan where you're at seems to be the same. And sitting in front of you, holding your hand, is a little girl with blonde hair, wearing an old semi-ratty sort of nightgown. And she's just looking up at you with big eyes.
Well, shit. And she turns around, like, still holding the hand, but turns to look behind her again.
And you see the doorway you came in and the hallway you were in, but everything looks different.
Okay. This is different. You look familiar, but the last time I saw somebody that looked like you, they weren't this small. You said you needed help. So, I'm here. How do I help?
She continues to look up at you. You realize that her hand is ice cold, even cold by kindred standards. And her voice speaks, but what you hear is almost the echo of her voice. And she says, "It's not safe here. We have to go." And she begins to pull you into the other room where the others are. Or were.
Would it be quicker if I help, like, carried you, or do you need to be holding my hand?
She just continues to pull on your arm as she tries to go into what would be, I guess, Penny's living room.
I deeply, Finn, I swear to God. I'm sorry. And then she just...
I think I missed some of that. You're doing what?
Swallows it. She just swallows her because she's realizing that she's got herself into this and she needs to get herself out of it.
As she walks through the door into the main room of this colorless world, you recognize the surroundings, except everything is, again, decrepit and decayed. She points to a structure in the middle of the room, which after a moment, as you get a little closer to it, you realize is some of the furniture that has been pulled together into a sort of, children would build forts. It's that sort of thing. She tugs on your hand a little more as she begins to almost jog towards it and says, "Come on, we'll be safe in here. We don't have much time."
Okay, so Lyric will kind of scoop her up as she's running and run towards the fort.
Finn, you walk into the hallway where Lyric is. And you see her standing, staring at the wall. She looks kind of off. She looks like she's forgotten how to stand, yet is still standing, if that makes sense.
I had a cousin who would go into these mild seizures. Everyone thought it was just him spacing off until the doctors finally said that it was actually him having small micro seizures. And in inevitably that they would eventually get to the point where you see them like on TV, where he would have that grand mal to end all seizures. But until then, there really wasn't much for us to do except for make them as comfortable as possible, make sure that if they fell or if they were already standing, to ease them to the ground so that they wouldn't fall and hurt themselves in the course of it. Is that similar to what's going on with Rick in this particular moment? That pause, that emptying of themselves, or them being trapped within themselves?
It is very similar.
So the first things first is the trauma response of reliving those moments with my cousin as I bodily, through force of memory, ease Lyric to the ground. It's make sure that she's on her left side, make sure that there's nothing obstructing her airway, not that she needs to breathe, but force of habit, making sure that her knees are pulled closer to her chest, i.e. mostly in a 90-degree angle or 45-degree angle. I forget, it's been a couple of years. I'm working off a muscle memory and realizing there's nothing else I can do. There's nothing I can do except for sit with her and be with her as she's not here. All of those traumatic moments, realizing how close to death I had been during life with my cousin, and them just blanking out, and realizing that unfortunately, once again, there's no one else that I can rely on. I am here alone and about to lose someone who clearly matters.
So, as you approach her with that intention and touch her, there's almost like a little jolt of static electricity. And she kind of turns slowly with her head at a weird angle and regards you curiously. You don't notice it right away, and you're not sure how you didn't notice it right away, but her eyes have gone jet black.
That's absolutely worse. It's ease her to the ground. Work off of muscle memory. Trying to not give over to that fear that I will not see Rick again. Try to not give into that despair, as heavy as it is in this moment.
You attempt to ease her to the ground. She doesn't seem to be cooperating. She gives you a slow, sort of unsettling sort of smile, and in a gravelly, sort of echoey voice says, "I know you."
No, you don't. I don't even know me. Come on. I'm going to ease you to the ground so that you don't hurt yourself. You're going to...
And she begins to walk towards the other room, sort of shuffling.
Lift her up from around the waist and ease her to the ground.
She sits and just looks at you curiously, and finally says, "You send more?"
Not on purpose.
It grumbles and makes almost a whining sound and says again, "You send more." This time not a question.
More of what?
More of what you sent me last time.
I don't even know who you are. Breaking all sorts of superstitions and rules that he grew up with. Much of his past is involved with a multi-theistic, syncretic form of worship. His grandmother is a Voodoo. His father is a high-ranking member of the Voodoo religion here in Harlem. His mother, higher status, more of a prophetess, and someone who's been known to actually have magics worked through her during life. He always thought it was just fleecing the rubes, shearing the sheep, playing on their hopes and their fantasies. So all of those wives' tales that he grew up with, all of those beliefs of salt and doorways and never speaking to things that don't know, he's throwing out the window, because what he sees is Rick, and what he feels is being left here alone. So he really is imploring, beseeching, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you think I've sent you.
She cocks her head kind of curiously, a little farther than is probably comfortable. It says who we are.
You can't be a we.
Can't.
You're in someone that you are not a part of. What do you need?
Gives that unsettling smile again and says, I need more.
More what? As long as it takes, you're gonna give me an answer that I can work with. More what? What were you sent by me? I didn't send you anything because I don't know who you are. What do you need?
And it raises its voice to match, to the point where Penny can hear raised voices in the next room, even if she can't make out what she's hearing exactly, or the words rather. It says, the essence, I need more.
At the raised voices, Penny will begin to make her way to the other room.
What essence? What do you need? Just spit it out, whatever it is.
The girl you sent to me. I want more.
I can't do that, but the owner of this place can. I don't even know who that was. How did you... look, if I can help, if I can figure out how to help, I definitely will, but I need... I need you to give her back.
Penny, you've walked in and heard that exchange there, or at least Finn's part of it. You see, as I've described, Lyric sitting on the floor. You're probably a little too far away to notice it, but as you get closer, you'll see that her eyes have gone jet black. She doesn't seem like herself. In fact, she doesn't seem at all like a natural person.
I'm no expert in these things, but that does not appear to be good.
Scrubbing his face, lowering his voice. The internal voice, that voice that doesn't need air to breathe, doesn't need to pause to collect itself, and just can continue screaming endlessly and immortally. He lowers his voice. He works towards finding some semblance of internal equilibrium. And there is none. There's nothing to do but deal with the ebbs and flows of what's happening inside. And not for the first time. But one of the most difficult time keeps from responding to the lack of care, to the lack of consideration, the lack of humanity that he hears. One of the many things that he did upon setting their person free, because she was destined, and now he knows that it's entirely true, destined for eternal slavery, eternal enslavement and usury at the hands of others. And the real fact that he seemed to be the only one who saw that or had a problem with that. He spent the last week, well, that week, trying to find what little bit of himself was left, and it wasn't all that much, because who he was up until those happenstances, it was all about the money. It didn't matter. He was not going to become the paranoid, vengeful person that his sire taught him to be. He wasn't going to be the spiritually enlightened charlatan or huckster he believed his parents and lineage to be. He was going to be someone different, someone who existed in the real world. And right now, what the fuck was the point? No one else is.
If I'm reading this correctly, Penny, this might be the first time you've seen the real Finn. He doesn't seem so sure of himself. I'll let him say how much he's hiding that, or if the moment has kind of overwhelmed him.
He very seldomly actually hides anything and tells you exactly who he is. Most people are too busy dealing with the verbs and adjectives instead of realizing the message that he tries to hide in plain sight. He very much is that same person that he's been running from, the same sense of right that he's purposefully acted against, at least on the surface. But underneath it all, what's been driving him is this, and moments like this where the sum of your considerations, the sum of your choices is all that there really is, because everything else is fake, everything else is hollow, everything else is empty of real value. And no one ever picks up on it. Everyone's distracted by looks and seemings, the music and not the lyrics. So he's able to exist as he is without it ever having to be an issue.
Lyric looks slowly over to Penny and then back to Finn and says, "More."
Let her go. Leave her. And the owner of this place can make whatever arrangement that you need. And I will help find you whatever it is that you think you need. But you gotta let her go. You gotta.
Penny will cross her arms and watch appraisingly.
The thing that is currently Lyric grins at you almost maliciously. Meanwhile, in the other room, on the other side of reality, the two of you, Lyric, the little girl, slide into the pillow fort. The little girl scrambles free and pulls a curtain over the door. Then she insistently hands you a Barbie that is missing an arm and a head. And she gets her own, and then she lays down on the floor and with a bunch of broken gray crayons begins scribbling on a sheet of paper.
Lyric puts the Barbie in her lap, kind of like sitting crisscrossed legs, looks down at the girl. All right, sweetheart, we're in here and we're supposed to be safe in here. Now, what are we running from, okay? You need to tell me, because maybe I can handle it, all right?
Oh, he's gone right now, but he'll be back.
Who's gone right now?
I don't know his name. I don't know if he has a name. He told me he was an angel.
Baby doll, this don't look like heaven to me.
But it's so quiet
Have you ever
here.
seen, like, a really... Yeah. But, did you see, like, a bright light anywhere, or, feel warm? It's kind of cold in here. You're very cold to the touch. And I know cold. So, if you've seen any of those things, maybe I can help get you to the...
No, I've just been
get you
here.
real peace.
He won't let me go. But I'm safe in
At
here.
that, they're kind of... There kind of runs her tongue across her bangs and just kind of... Oh, it's one of those sort of situations in her head. Well, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I'm pretty big and pretty tough. And I work protecting people. So maybe I can get him to let you go. Right?
You can?
I'm gonna sure as hell try.
I don't know. He said he was going to keep me forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, well, people say a lot of things. Doesn't mean that they're actually gonna be able to do it. And I know I just said that saying that I would try to help, but let's just say, usually when I say things, I absolutely mean them. I don't say them unless I absolutely mean them. So when I say things and absolutely mean them, then that means I'll make things that other people say and think they mean not work anymore.
But what
I
if
don't know
he
if that
keep,
makes sense or not.
But what if he keeps you too?
Oh no, see, I have somebody I have to get back to. And he's probably worried about me right now, so I can't stay for him.
But I thought you were going to be my friend.
I am here and I am your friend now, but I'm gonna get you some better friends. And how does that sound?
It's been so long since I've had a friend.
I bet. So, how do you know when he's around, by the way?
Everything gets darker. But he's not here right now. You're here.
Yeah, I think I'm getting what happened. Hmm. Well, how about this? While he's not here, why don't we make the best of that and look for a way to get you out so that when he comes back, you aren't here anymore and it's just me.
But then he'll keep you forever and ever.
That's
And
a chance I'm willing to take.
And as she's speaking, she's mostly absorbed in whatever it is she's drawing on the paper. She slides it over towards you, and it looks like it's some sort of church.
Is that somewhere you've been before, or somewhere you feel safe?
Oh no, I don't feel safe there, but I've been there before. That's in your world.
Lyric will study the picture, even if it's kind of like on the more childish spectrum of things. She's trying to match it up with landmarks in her head.
It's kind of hard to put any sort of thing on it. I mean, it is kind of a scary, ominous church, but it's written in, a child's hand, and not like a artistically gifted child, like a small child's hand.
Okay, so how far away is this place?
It's across the river.
From here.
From here, I don't know. I don't go outside. It's worse outside. He keeps me safe from the outside. He says I'll have more friends soon. Are you one of those friends?
That makes her pause for a minute, because she's like, if he's gathering other spirits, that's not the best sort of situation. No, I came in to help you specifically, but the fact that he's trying to get others, I don't necessarily like. So, that is why I feel like we should find you a way out. You don't have to go completely outside, because you said outside is dangerous, but maybe we should look for the light.
She sits back, pulls her knees up to her chest, and grabs a teddy bear that's most of the stuffing has fallen out of. It's missing an eye, and she cradles it to herself as she kind of rocks back and forth looking at you.
Okay, I get it. How about this? You stay in here where it's safe, and I'll take a look around, and I won't go far, because I know you're worried, but I need to at least figure out how to get you out of here, okay?
She wipes at her eyes. Says, "No, you have. It's not safe out there." And she begins to almost turn into sort of a liquidy substance, kind of a bubbling brown thing. And it kind of becomes thicker and just ends up being a puddle on the floor. Meanwhile, back in the quote-unquote real world, the thing that is Lyric turns its head to regard Penny for a moment, and then looks back at Finn and says, "You will bring me more?"
Let her go. You gotta let her go. You want whatever it is that you want. That's the only way to get anywhere near there.
Kind of chuckles, makes sort of a throaty sound that you never ever heard Lyric make. And it lulls its head back for a moment. If I give her back, you bring more.
It's the only way forward. You don't get what.
And at that point, Lyric's body falls limp as you hear a loud crash in the other room.
Penny will go take a peek at what's going on in the other room.
Lyric, you find yourself back in your body. Takes a minute for your senses to adjust. It's very disorienting. Penny, you run into, or are you running into the other room? How are you getting?
She's not running.
You hear a repeated crash from the bathroom.
Take a peek in the bathroom.
What you see is Morgan repeatedly bashing her face into a mirror that is already broken.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Drag her out of there.
Give me a wits and awareness real quick.
Look at all those ones.
As you are grabbing Morgan, who is definitely resisting you, you catch in the mirror and the broken pieces a shadowy thing that is all sharp angles and spindly limbs and pointy fingers, and it appears to, from the vantage of looking in the mirror, it appears to be slamming Morgan's face into the mirror.
Fake.
You are able to pull Morgan away, however.
I will drag her in and plop her down beside Finn and Lyric and go to the one single landline she has in the whole house. Flip through a little book.
Morgan's eyes are blacked over as you are setting her down, but eventually they just close.
Once Penny finds the name that she's looking for, just dial the number. Calling an old acquaintance of her from back in the days before she was Penny.
So, what's going on in the hallway by the bloodstain?
Waiting. Literally just waiting. The moment, if there is a moment, where Lyric looks like Rick again. It is straight out of this place. 100%
Lyric,
gone.
Lyric, it didn't seem like you were gone all that wrong, but being in your body just feels alien at first. Takes you a minute to kind of adjust back into it. But you can see Finn kind of hovering over you.
I can imagine she kind of comes up sputtering like if you had broken the surface of being in a lake and something finally let you go. She just sits up hard. He has her. I have to go back. I have to help her. I promise. He has her. And he said he's gonna get more. You can't let him have any more. She's so fucking scared.
I got one question for you. Just one.
What?
What is my full first name?
She looks at him very closely, squinting. What do you mean? Of course I fucking know your name. She looks around to see if anybody else is there and leans into his ear. Seraphim. Okay?
Let's talk about this outside. Come on. Let's go. We need to talk about this outside. We don't have operational security.
Okay. She will get to her feet and probably stumble at first because still getting back used to her body. And
Don't trip over Morgan.
As he leaps. Oh shit. Where the fuck did she come? Why does her face look like that?
Yeah, she's laying on the floor. Her face is all cut up. Now she's kindred, so she's not really bleeding. But she is all cut up and her eyes are closed.
How close to sunrise is it?
You got maybe an hour.
Okay. Let's go. We need to get somewhere safe to talk about this entire evening. This is not it. Are you mostly good?
This is the first time in a while. She just kind of stops and looks at him. Like she's considering dissenting from what he wants to do. Looks back over her shoulder into the hallway. And then gives up and gives in for the moment, knowing that it's better to run away now and fight another day. And lets him drag her out.
With a last glance over your shoulder, it is not lost on you that where Morgan is laying is right outside the entrance to the Pillow Fort. Penny, you get an answering machine, or a voicemail, I guess. You are free to leave a voice message, but no one actually answers the other end of that call.
It's all good. Penny will lose her accent for a bit. It's like, hey, yo, Raffy. Your old pal JJ. Give me a call. I guess you don't know my new number. Fuck it. The Penny Dreadful escape rooms. Leave a message there. And she'll hang up.
So as Finn and Lyric exit, they hear Penny drop character, I guess, and use her real voice, which is probably something to file away for later, I'm sure. Finn, where exactly are you taking the two of you?
To his haven. To his actual Sanctum Sanctorum on East 95th. Not one of the fallbacks, not one of the asides, to his haven.
You feel reasonably sure that if you're not detained for some reason or nothing goes horribly wrong, that you should be able to make it there in time?
Yeah, it's not that far. Even by foot, they can make it in 30 minutes. The whole point is to get there as quickly as possible. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, straight to the haven. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Lyric, as the two of you travel, every time you pass a sort of reflective surface, you see strange things, sort of ghostly images. A lot of it's hard to make out. The farther you go, the better it gets as far as not seeing them anymore. You just are still really disoriented at the moment. And as we flee towards the haven, and Penny is left staring at Morgan on the floor, who is apparently unconscious, which you didn't know could actually happen to vampires outside of torpor.
She will drive Morgan to the safety of the dark room and do her best to kind of clean her up. I mean, she was a mom at one point. It's not like she doesn't know how to clean up a kid.
But everyone is able to retreat to relative safety for the day. I think at that point it is 10:23. We will go ahead and take our nicotine snack pee break because we are at an opportune place to do so. And we'll see everybody back here in 10 minutes.
Good deal.
Anyone back?
I think so.
Probably.
All right. Well, as we slumber our days away, if everyone would like to do the bookkeeping of rolling a rouse check for the evening. All right. Apparently everyone's beast is cool with what happened the night before and cool with continuing onward. Penny, you wake up in a dark room with Morgan, who is wondering why her face is all cut up. Lyric and Finn, you wake up in whatever sort of sleeping arrangement you currently have going on. Lyric, you don't want to say they were dreams, they were kind of at the point of dying. They didn't really persist all day, but you could see the little girl's face. When you woke up, you could see her face again with her hand reaching out for you. Just kind of in a flash. So as we see Finn and Lyric wake up, other than the little disturbing flash of imagery she had, what do we see?
He rises and heads into the shower.
Lyric just kind of sits up in the bed and curls her knees to her chest, almost an exact mirror of the little girl in the fort last night. Kind of putting her chin on the top of her knees. Watching him retreat to the bathroom and need that couple minutes to get himself together, which gives her time to think about everything that she saw last night. Not knowing whether he's listening or not, but thinking he might just be, she kind of doesn't whisper it, but I promised her. I promised. And now I've left her with him by herself. I need to get her free.
Having
And
not
she's gonna wait for him to come back out of the shower.
having not stepped in under the shower, the water's already running. But hearing that, he steps back into the room. Doesn't cross the distance as much as it pains him to not do so. You promised her. Who? Another soul pulled into the orbit of Penny, or whoever she actually is. On the other side. You promised her, and you left me here with no promise of returning. No return ticket. You promised her you would much rather go there, wherever that was. And I don't know where that was. I only know that not so much as a letter, a phone call, a FaceTime, or anything was possible. Something else was wearing your skin, and you promised her. You promised her. Someone else who had already been lost. Gave yourself to that. I understand that it bothered you, me needing to lick my wounds, because I was really in dire straits mentally, emotionally, trying to figure out how to balance everything that led up to that moment with anything that could happen on the other side of it. I understand, I hate you. That was never my goal. But that, you left me permanently. And I had to plead, I had to beg with something that wore your skin. It wore your skin. It looked out of your eyes.
Do you think I was being petty and that this is somehow because you left me for however long to do what you needed to do, so you think I did that shit on purpose?
I think that you're lost.
On purpose.
I think that you're lost. I think you needed something. You need something, and I can't provide it. That's what I think. I think that you would much rather embrace the great unknown instead of this hellhole that we are currently within. I think that you would much rather reach out for some spark of excitement, some spark of finding who you are, than deal with this unending turmoil that exists here because of our associations. I think you needed something in that moment, and something found you and took your place. Not being petty, but still dealing with the hurt of it all. Because, believe me when I say this, I know a portion of what you may have felt. And just that small portion of what you may have felt being alone in the midst of others is too much for me. It's a long way of coming around to say I'm sorry again. It's a long way of saying that ain't fucking possible. It's a long way around. My sire, my moms, my old man, my maman, all of them, unasked, unwanted, tossing all this shit in my general direction. And I, like a fool, ignored most of it. And yet, every night of this unending night, as of late, there's something else that gets dredged up that they've spoken of, they've talked about, they've ranted about. And I'm the fool that didn't listen, that didn't absorb. I ain't got much at all. And that could be summed up with everything that you are. Is all that really exists for me. And you leaving drove that home. I'm not cut out to be here by myself because I squandered all of what was here before.
The fact that you think that I would leave you and not have a fucking plan how to get back
How'd you get back?
shocks the shit out of me.
How'd you get back?
I don't know how I got back, but at the
Exactly.
same time, I didn't have plans on staying.
How did you get back? No matter what you thought, you were confident that no matter what happened, you could punch your way out of it. But how did you get back? You didn't
You're
get
telling
you back.
me that you begged for me to be sent back, so that's why I got...
Yes. That thing that wore your skin, that looked out of your eyes. I begged.
She just kind of looks away from him for a minute, trying to get herself together, because there is a intrinsic part of her that wants to throttle the shit out of him. But then there is that part of her that realizes he's right. She didn't actually know that her plan to get back would work. That she did plan on punching her way out of that situation. Because it's always worked before. So she just kind of looks at him. Okay, I was fucking stupid, okay? You're right. You're always right. But she asked me for help, and I didn't know what else to do. And for the first time in a long time, he sees that there are like pinkish tinged tears kind of like tracking down her cheeks. I didn't mean to leave you behind. I just got you back. Why would I leave you?
Because you're one of the strongest people that I know. And you believe that just you alone, no matter who you're with, as much as I count on it, as much as I have faith in it, is enough no matter who. It's not as bad as not having a choice or setting yourself on the path, because it's always worked. At the end of the day, you being the strongest hammer puts all the nails to shame. This is not a hammer situation. Some of the situations that we are in are not hammer situations. crossing the distance and settling just close enough to touch without crossing that boundary himself. He sits and waits, because part of it is an apology for choosing to find what portion of himself is left. Part of it is the very real fear that he was facing. The real fear that he still hasn't given full voice to. Him begging was as close to actually saying it out loud as he has ever come. And while he is always honest, with himself at least, doesn't mean he can afford to be so right now. Because at the end of the day, if it took hours, days, waiting and pleading, that's exactly what he would have done. And he knows what that would have done to him. He knows what that could have done to her. He knows the stakes of that. And if he's being honest with himself, none of that really matters. And it is a very trying moment. It is a very come to Jesus moment, realizing that you would throw the whole lot of it away. Everything. None of it mattered. And that's where he is. Micro fractions of an inch from touch, hovering and waiting on being forgiven and being accepted.
As soon as he gets close enough to grab, she barely lets him sit before she has yanked him against her. And where her heart should be, or her heart should beat, she pushes his ear and just kind of holds him for a minute. I promise I won't do it again, okay?
Thank you.
And just gonna, just keeps holding him for a minute. And then randomly, out of nowhere, they're having this extremely serious moment between them. And she goes, "So who the fuck is JJ?" Or did you not hear that?
I did. And it doesn't sit well, but there's nothing I can do about it now, is there? Nothing we can do about it either. We're not trusted enough to know enough. It's a sound philosophy, it's a sound idea when dealing with the rest of the world. But, yeah.
And leaving that elephant in the room for a moment, beside the elephant in the room of you both know that Lyric is going to do it again. We cut over to Penny's Haven, where she awakens in the dark and hears the soft crying of Morgan somewhere else in the room.
Well, that wasn't much by the way of hair braiding now, was it?
What happened?
Oh, nothing much. I just walked into the restroom to find you bashing your head against the mirror. Something odd happened with Lyric as well.
I don't like it here. I had dreams. I mean, they weren't like dreams, but they were weird.
Long, black, and spindly.
It was chasing me.
Well then, let's get you home, shall we?
I don't remember how did we get in this room?
You are, fortunately, light enough for me to drag.
And you can barely see her, probably just her silhouette, because it is very dark in the room. She is kind of wiping at her face. Kind of tenderly, because it is all cut up.
And he will get up and flip the light on.
She really does look like shit with her face all cut up and bloody tears.
Let's get you cleaned up again. You know how to heal yourself? Have you been injured this bad since?
I think so. When I went to the park that time, I think they broke some of my ribs. And she closes her eyes and bites her lip gently and kind of concentrates. And obviously the blood remains, but the cuts on her face begin to close.
Good girl. Let's go get you cleaned up. And perhaps something to eat?
Maybe.
I know sometimes that can make you a little peckish.
I am kind of hungry, but I mean, it's not bad.
Remember what we talked about letting it get bad?
She looks like she's about to say something, and then she just swallows it and nods. As you leave your little inner sanctum and enter into the main room, your attention is immediately captured by the what is left over of a structure in the middle of your room, which look like a bunch of cushions and pillows have been piled together, but one side of it is collapsed.
Well, that wasn't there when we went to bed.
As you move closer to get a better view, it looks like there is some sort of brown stain on the floor that wasn't there before.
Brown as in dried blood brown?
Kind of, yeah. Could be blood.
And he will look just super irritated for a moment and then take Morgan to get her cleaned up.
As you enter the bathroom, there are still shards of glass on the floor and in the sink. Morgan looks at it all hesitantly and asks you, what happened here?
This was the unfortunate place where your face met the mirror.
Fortunately, there's not much mirror left, just a couple shards that have been too stubborn to succumb to gravity.
She will make a mental note to have Brian call and have someone come up to fix it.
She gives the sink in the mirror a wide berth, and she uses the tub to get some water to rinse her face off of.
Once you're ready, whatever you need is in the closet.
She picks out something simple. She's a little smaller than you, so it doesn't fit really good, but it fits well enough. And I assume you guys are leaving at that point. Where are you taking her?
First, she's gonna stop downstairs and check any messages to see if there are any messages.
Nothing pertinent, just the usual sort of stuff.
Cool. And then I will take Morgan to wherever she would like to go to grab a nibble.
She doesn't know, but she keeps telling you that she's fine.
All right, then I will take her home. Then, once Morgan is safely ensconced in whatever residence she has been shoved into by Sadie, she will go back home.
All right.
Time for some cleaning.
So having done all that, we cut back to Finn and Lyric. Finn, I assume, fresh out of the shower. Lyric, I don't know whether she joins him or she waits or what exactly happens, but what is your plan for the evening? Any further conversation going on?
Look, we've gone over it before, and you know how I feel about it. The same effort that could have been used
I think
could
definitely,
be used.
After that super intense situation, she'd let him have the shower by himself and then kind of come in after him, and then once they're both showered and redressed, she kind of looks at him. I know you don't want to go back there, and technically I don't want to go back there either, but we gotta solve some shit.
What do you think we're gonna solve? Honest question. I'm not poking.
The mystery that is Penny.
It's not a mystery.
What do you just want to give all of her?
Not really a mystery. It is a effort of trust. We are clearly outside of that circle. It's not for us to know. That's what the last 2 nights have been about. Mike is starting the conversation. There's only so much you can do in that regard. We're outside the circle of trust. We just gotta accept it. It is what it is. There's no mystery to solve there. And if there is a mystery to solve there, the fact that expressing an interest and a want and being denied, you kind of got to accept it. When someone introduces you to who they are, you kind of got to accept it. Being perfectly honest, I was kind of hoping that Morgan never awakens to the night. Would be the easiest thing, because even though she doesn't trust us and is willing to put our names on the line to protect someone like Morgan, I don't want to see it permanently dead, which is the outcome of that. Sadie has leverage over a Jenny. Which means, by extension, as long as we keep tying ourselves, she has leverage over us. Sadie has leverage over Baby. And as long as we keep tying ourselves, she has leverage over us. And Sadie ain't been horrible. And yet, she's willing to play the game. Which means eventually, just like Google, that day is going to come through. Based on the strength of what we've shared thus far, do you believe that it's worth throwing more money after bad?
Okay. So what do we do? How do we not get pulled into things that we've already somehow tied ourselves to any further than we are already tied into?
Give it one more attempt to either let us in or shut us out. There is no middle road. Because if we're on the out, we'll take it and run. But if we're on the in, then we need to work together with a definitive step forward, which is not necessarily her ballywick, as they say.
So basically, you want to do this in a way that's going to protect us.
Yeah. One last shot.
I'm fine with that.
Third time's the charm. Figure out where we stand and then move accordingly.
Okay. So do you want to call her first, or
Why, she never calls me?
like meet somewhere neutral? What are we doing?
Nah, we could be respectful. I think that we could be respectful. Let's go to our place and tell her to come down and meet us on the street. Because you shouldn't go inside there again. Not for a while, at least.
Alright. I will follow your lead this time in this.
Her place there. Wasn't there a few places across the street that we could settle down and have a conversation or two?
So that's what they do. I guess they head out and head back to Penny's and see if she's willing to come downstairs and chat.
There's a Vinci's on the other side of Broadway right there that we can take up a couple of booths and keep an eye on the building and watch the street go this way and that way and have a moment of conversation.
All right. Well, for convenience sake, as often happens in these sort of storytelling forums, we will say that it's not too long after you get there that Penny comes strolling home from dropping Morgan off. You see her car slide into the half underground garage there. Penny, are you guys hanging out somewhere across the street, or are you waiting for her out front of the building, or would she be able to see you as she pulled in?
Hey Rick, you want to go ahead and give her a call before she gets all the way upstairs?
Yeah, there would be like kind of across the street. And then seeing her pull in, Rick would definitely give her a call on the burner. Hey, before you get comfortable, we're across the street if you want to come over and talk. I don't trust going back in your building just yet.
And he will chuckle softly. I can't say that I blame you. Across the street, you say?
Yep. At the little restaurant thing over there.
Vinci.
Cafe.
I know the one. I will be there shortly.
Are you stopping by your abode proper before you head over there, Penny, or are you just going to pivot on your heel and go straight over?
Penny is first going to go up and check for any messages again.
Up to your apartment or just up to the escape room?
Just up to the escape room at first.
Nothing pertinent. Actually, it's been pretty quiet since you left because it hasn't been that long.
And then, perfect. Then she will go upstairs and grab that other letter from yesterday and see if anything else has accumulated.
You enter your apartment. It is quiet, almost dissettling so, considering the activities of the night before. You grab the letter, and out of the corner of your eye, you notice something that seems to be amiss. Assuming you go to investigate, it is the remains of the pillow fort that had mysteriously appeared while you were sleeping. In front of it, there is a piece of paper.
Investigate the piece of paper.
The paper is just sitting on the ground. As you bend over to pick it up, you see that the side that was face down is a child's scribbled sort of crayon drawing. You see a church, and you see 4 figures standing beside it. All of them seem to be crying and bleeding. And there is, over the one that is male, it says Finn, but the F is backwards. Then the person next to him just says Rick, R-I-K. And then next to that is the blue-haired girl, who is Morgan without an A, just M-O-R-G-N. And then the last one just says JJ.
Not delightful. You will roll it up and stash it with the letter and head downstairs.
So it takes her 10 minutes or so, but Penny comes strolling into the restaurant. It is late enough that it is not super busy, but it is also New York City, so even though it is late, there are still people there having dinner. But it is easy enough to get a secluded area where you may speak a little more freely. Assuming that Finn and Lyric have already done so, Penny enters the building, has to look around for a second, but then sees the pair that she is looking for.
He will stroll on over and have a seat.
Under the pretense of being customers, Lyric has gotten herself a fairly large hot chocolate. It's not. She's not drinking out of it actively. It's just more like she's holding it and inhaling the smell of it and just enjoying that. But it keeps it looking like they're actually using the booth for what it's meant to be.
Yeah, there are 3 water glasses sitting there, a basket of semi-warm bread for the table. As Penny slides into the booth or the table, whichever it is, leave that up to you guys. The waitress comes by and asks if she can get her anything to drink or an appetizer.
Penny will gesture at the hot chocolates. That looks delicious. If I could have one of those as well, thank you.
She nods and smiles and heads off to attend to that. Doesn't take her too long to return. Doesn't take very long to make hot chocolate, especially when you already have the hot water on hand. She sets it down and says, let me know if you need anything else.
Of course. Thank you.
Leaving you all staring at each other.
You should add cinnamon to that.
What was that?
You should add cinnamon to that. Thing is, it's just an odoriferous thing.
Annie will take the suggestions, and then she will put the drawing down in front of the two of them.
Lean forward like he's taking a look at it and just flips it over. Not really all that important right now. Your place is haunted. This much is obvious. We already knew that. The happenings of what's going on the other side of the planet, the other side of the there's a divide supposedly. Whatever's happening over there, leave it over there for now. What's happening here is probably more important to us as a total, as a group, as a triptych, as a trio.
Annie will lean back nonchalantly and wrap her hands around the mug.
So our conversation came to a screeching halt yesterday. Attempt 2, if you would. Consider this attempt 3. You know how I feel. Or at least I hope my words mattered enough that you remember how I feel. Got anything that you'd like to add to that or detract from that?
No, not really. You made it fairly plain that you don't approve of my chaotic methods.
That's what you got from that.
That was the subtext, was it not?
It was not. Not in the least. Subtext had nothing to do with what was actually graphically directly stated. Your inability to... your distaste of being direct. Choosing a path. Letting me know where we stand because you trust enough to do so. is problematic for me. It's what that pause and that space for you to fill was for. The fact that you again sidestepped at enduring that conversation and our conversation in the car about the same thing fills me with trepidation. It is what it is at the end of the night. But this is as much as I don't really like baseball, much more that more of a actual football or American football, hockey even, but the whole up at bat situation. That's what this is. This is an opportunity to clear the air. Tell me that I'm wrong, that you are not, in fact, purposely keeping myself at arm's distance. Is to tell me that I'm wrong.
Everyone stays at arm's distance. Easier on the heart.
That it is. Okay. All right. So,
You will stare at him pointedly.
smiling. So with that being said, and us knowing where we stand, the next step of business, because we are loosely connected, we need to figure out what you're gonna do in regards to paying your debt for Penny, and how best we can go about respecting ourselves in the morning, as it were.
Then you will take a deep breath in and exhale sharply. There comes a point when you learn the people you work with don't necessarily have to be your friends. I learned that very early.
It's to be expected, shovelhead and all. These things happen. Had nothing to do about being friends. So this situation is in there in regards to the invitation from your girl Sadie to the spot to hobnob with the better to do. What's our plan moving forward?
We go see what information we can gather.
Yeah. Alright, just kind of lean toward, are we going forward with trying to put Morgan in a better place?
That would be ideal.
Using her as a distraction. Okay, so how quickly do we need that done?
Oh, she knows too much. She knows where. She knows where JJ lives. She knows where the old print shop was. She knows. Oh no, she knows or she remembers where your job is. Well, one of them at least, and so we'd be exposed with several others with her being embedded. Do you want to trust her?
She's a smart girl.
I don't know. I mean, part of me feels like we'd be throwing her to the fucking sharks. They would eat her alive. The first time somebody says boo to her, she's gonna fucking cry in the corner.
And give her everything she knows.
You know, she keeps saying Sadie's been mean to her.
Yeah. So whatever she knows, she's gonna give up with a little bit of pressure. She may not even realize she's doing it, but whatever she knows, it's up for grabs. It's there to be seized by whoever she's embedded with.
Fair point.
Actually, that brings about a fair point for me. Something that Nos said last night. She's gonna look at Penny for a minute. The problem I'm having is that there were only 4 of us that knew we had that girl. There was only one person who gave us the girl. Now I can get rid of him. I already told him what would happen to him if he ran his mouth. So how did the Nos know that we had the girl? I know I didn't fucking tell nobody. I know he didn't fucking tell nobody. So that leaves 2 people that knew we had her. For a fact. How did he find out?
My bet would be on the gentleman who promised he would say nothing. You know that our kind have ways of getting around that. Or video cameras.
Your place got video cameras in there that you don't control. Because he seemed almost assured that we had either let her go and taken her somewhere or killed her. There's anywhere in between those 2.
And more meant the facility
yeah,
she was housed in.
She looks at Finn. I see I'm gonna have to go hunt.
Sounds like a very nice thing to do on a night like tonight. It's a beautiful night. It's early yet.
And at that, you hear scraping of a chair as it is pulled up to your table and turned around backwards. And a man with long dark hair and wearing a fine suit sits down on the chair backwards facing you all. You all recognize this man. He smiles at you wistfully. Says, "So, let's have a chat." And it is the sheriff of New York City. What are we hunting?
Whatever's in season. Preferably something with a little more of a spicy, choleric resonance to it. maybe sanguine if we were feeling a little wild. Chocolate is fine for the nose, but blood's the only thing that really does the trick, you know?
And he smiles. He sets his hands on the table and drums his fingers on it for a minute. Says, well, if you have a few minutes, I have a few questions. And I believe that is where we will call it an evening, because I am tired. I think we had some really good stuff tonight, though. I hope other people agree.
It's a good evening.
Party friction, no.
Not at all. And with that...
So I thank you all for playing along and indulging me.
Very, very cool. See you guys next week. I am off for a bit of nicotine. And